prepared for the second level and the third level class.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but a lot of them are geared towards the counseling
Gotcha.
aspect of human services instead of the nutrition.
Okay. So honestly, we can just take a quick show of hands. You can raise your hand by pushing the little icon. So raise your hand if you agree with what Taylor said, that first course needs to be revised to include more nutrition information.
I don't know how to raise my hand.
Oh, so you can raise your hand with your screen.
But I'm raising my hand, I guess.
Yeah, turn your screen on and wave at me if you don't know how to thumbs up.
There also should be down at the very bottom of your page.
Oh, reactions.
Reactions. Yep.
Yes, yeah, hover down there. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think several people agree with you. Okay. Definitely we can look at that. Put, if you are willing to help with that revision, put your name and your contact info and the name of the course down, and we'll get in touch. What other questions or concerns do we have about that, about this program of study? Do we have the right courses in it? Do we have any gaps, things that you know, say your students routinely miss on the TSIC that we need to add?
Sloan, I also think that when we look at the standards, they're very difficult to read and break down. And I think that is something, when we look at the T6 specific objectives, they are so much more teacher friendly and student friendly. And I think that if we could kind of shift the language in some of the standards, I think that would make it easier for teachers to know what is expected, for also students to understand whether they've mastered it or not. I kind of miss our old standards.
Yeah.
Like they were, you know, several years ago when I started teaching.
Yeah.
I miss that specific things that they need.
Right.
Now we have that general idea of what we're supposed to do. I think that we have missed like our main points that we need to hit in each standard because just because of the language.
Yeah. So we've had some conversation about that with our team and with our executive director and our director about the possibility of revising the format of the standards. That was something that we talked about a little bit last year. So as I revised standards for what went to the state board this time, I did keep in mind a little bit some of the things that teachers also have complaints about, concerns, whatever you want to call it, is the fact that there are assignments in the standard. And so as I wrote those or revised those for law and public safety last year, I did try to use language that was less specific about assignments. Like in some of them I wrote create an artifact. So whatever teachers decide. But the updates to the format, when we talked last year in the office, because it was kind of last minute to what we were doing at the time, we decided to table it, but to definitely come back to it. So my hope is definitely this year that we will start that process to revise those standards. Because we agree with what you just said.
Okay, great.
Our hope is to come up with some kind of a blend where we will bring back some of the list type format, but also keep some of the narrative format. Not sure how it's going to look, and you are welcome to put your name down to work on standards and have some input for that. But that would be our hope, that it would be my comment was to our executive director is this: if we have to do so much training to help teachers understand how to teach this, then there's a problem. And it shouldn't be this difficult for any teacher to read the standard and know exactly what to teach. That,
Yeah,
you know, we've had all these trainings over the years to train teachers to read those standards. Why don't we just write them where teachers can understand? So we're really, really going to work on that. I pushed for that last year. And so I'm glad you brought that up, because we're going to talk about it some more.
Okay. And then one last thing.
Okay.
Is the portfolio requirement. I know that we originally started that portfolio as a way to combat having a test. I know that's kind of the original idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
And since we do have a test now,
Mm-hmm.
why do we need a portfolio other than if we used it in that practicum class as a show of evidence or what has been learned? So I see a portfolio kind of, if we did an additional practicum, as kind of like a portfolio for kids to take with them once they leave our class.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as having an artifact specific portfolio for each one, you know, why not, we don't necessarily have to put that in each standard, but kind of make that like a capstone and leave that to the teachers to say, okay, we might want to keep this on a thumb drive in case we need it for our practicum, but then teachers can kind of fix that, you know, for themselves.
Okay.
Instead of like a statewide thing.
Right. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Who else wants to share? I saw some hands up.
Oh, this is Jocelyn.
Hi.
Hi. While you are planning, I am in culinary arts.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things in our standards that we touch base on is in nutrition is the food label.
Mm-hmm.
And while you are discussing that, I just don't want you to leave us out about the standards required to teach students about nutrition and the food labels.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who else had their hand up? I saw a couple more. We don't have a whole long time, so if you have a burning question or comment. Okay, well, I'll ask a question. So does anyone, I have spent quite a bit of time looking. Is there any certification out there that would align to this program of study in addition to the TSIC that somebody might suggest? You heard of anything, any schools that you know of offering something that we might look at? Nobody?
Hey, Sloan.
Hey.
So my kids do Serve Safe,
Yeah.
and with that, they can get a job at a fast food restaurant or any type of restaurant in the service industry, and they could even get paid more.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is beneficial for them as they're working, you know, in high school and in college.
Yeah.
And that deals with the food safety aspect.
Okay. If you'll fill out that form for us to take a look at it, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. What we have, I'll just so you can kind of understand the process. So what we have is a rubric, and we've worked long and hard on that rubric. It's lots of people in the department. It's not just somebody, you know, upper management kind of people just figuring it out for themselves. They've involved the program managers heavily on this creation of this new rubric. And we've been really excited about it, and we've worked really hard to make sure it kind of encompassed all the aspects that it needs to. And so you're filling that form out then helps us complete that rubric. And that really, you know, if you use a rubric in your classroom, it takes away any bias you might have because you're awarding points based on whether something meets specific criteria or not. So I know that Serve Safe, I remember a couple years ago, Liz talking about Serve Safe because she and I sat right next to each other in the office. And so we talked a lot, and she talked about Serve Safe. And I remember, it seems like I remember there was some controversy as whether it was going to be, whether it would be a good industry cert or not. But now that we have this rubric, it really takes away that guessing game. So if you can fill that out and submit it, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's approved for culinary.
Right. And so what we need to do is look at it for this program of study.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, Taylor, one of the things that I have looked for a lot, because as I said, my background's in healthcare, I even looked to see if there was a certification for people who delivered trays at the hospital. So I wonder if that Serve Safe also would lead to that kind of a job. Do you know?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
In my experience, this is Jocelyn.
Mm-hmm.
The Serve Safe touches a lot on the safety of food.
Okay.
In serving and preparing.
Mm-hmm.
The test that is given doesn't really touch bases on nutrition.
Right.
But I would research for you and see if there is a food and nutritionist certification that they can take.
Yeah, everything I found, you had to have at least an associate degree to get the certification. So that's what made me think about the people who serve trays at the hospital. I mean, they have to have some knowledge. They have to know, they have to be food safety. They also have to know about HIPAA. They have to know about how to look at the tray and see what the patients ate, because some hospitals, the server is the one who jots down what percentage of the meal the person consumed and all of that. So there are a lot of ins and outs about serving a tray in a hospital that I just knew there would have to be some kind of certification out there. So I don't know if Serve Safe would be something that we could align to that type of situation. But if you all know of anything,
okay,
please fill out the form or contact me so we can talk about it. Because I would love to have some more certifications for you guys that would be beneficial to your students.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I actually worked in the hospital serving trays.
Did you?
Which is crazy that you said
well,
that.
no, you know, it's
I didn't have any. I really, honestly, didn't even have any training other than the training that they gave me there. So
right. So yeah, I would think that could be, you know, that could be something that maybe the Serve Safe would be beneficial. I mean, what we're going to need, one of the things we're going to need for approving the industry cert to be on our list is that companies recognize the certification and they value that certification. So if, you know, your local hospital or your local nursing home, because they employ people to serve as well, if they value that Serve Safe certification, if they had a student who came to them with that certification, would that make a difference in whether they hired them or not? Then that's a valid piece of information for us to know. So if you don't mind checking out and seeing if you can find out some information about whether it's valued by industry, maybe we could get it connected to the nutrition science and diet therapy course program study. Anybody else have anything to add, questions to ask? We're getting close to our time being up, so. Okay, well, in the files. Again, there's a document in there that has my contact information, and it has the link to the document for industry certification suggestions. That window closes August 24th. So if you are interested in submitting anything, make sure you get that done before, and don't wait, because there are some letters you're going to need to obtain. So get that, and let's see if we can add a few more certifications for you guys. Okay, I guess that one's going to give you the code word, and we'll be gone.
Okay, so our code word today is going to be tennis, capital T, tennis.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else.
Actually, I have one question. I'm sorry.
No, fine. Yay.
The previous session, and I forgot to get the code word. I didn't write it down. Did we? Cosmetology and barbering.
Oh.
It's okay if you don't remember. I can go back.
I have it, but was it?
I've got it too. It was basketball.
It's basketball.
Basketball. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Well, y'all have a good day, and I hope that you're enjoying the conference and you're finding everything beneficial. And thanks, Owen. I don't know if we're going to work together again, so thanks.
This is our last one.
Yeah, thank you. You've been a big help. I really appreciate it. Okay, bye, everybody.